Hey gamers, in this video we're going to take a look at how to make macros in Roll20. Hey gamers, welcome back to Game Master's Dungeon. I am Brian, your Game Master, and today we're going to go back to Roll20. I'm going to show you how to create some easy, basic, and usable macros that you're going to want to use in your game. So let's just jump right in. Alright gamers, so here we are. We're back in Roll20 in our test game, and I'm going to go over some basic macros that you as a player and you as a GM could use or should. Then I'm going to go over a few advanced ones. Nothing crazy advanced, because some of the macros can just get just really complicated, but this is going to be kind of for the beginners. Then a couple of advanced options to kind of help you get some things organized. But really, let's just kind of get into it and let me just show you, okay? Alright, so you'll see down here, I've got a bunch of macros down here already. Because when you go here, okay, in your, like the macro tab where you make decks, where you make rollable tables, right? You can create macros. And then if you click here, like show in the macro quick bar, which is going to bring up this bar right here. This is where all your macros can go. So you'll check this, and then you'll check all the ones. So say I don't want the D21, I uncheck it, and it goes away. And then I click it again, and it goes back, but this time it's at the end. But what's great, so you come in here, this gray little box on the side, you just grab it, like click and hold, and you can like drag it around, and maybe put it right there. Also, you can color coordinate, because right now they all kind of blend in. So I waited to show this until we got in here. So you right click and you click on color, and then say I want this is a really important one for me. We're gonna make this in purple. Okay, we're gonna make this one. We're gonna make this one this color, and we'll make this one this color. This is going to be a different D20 modifier roll. We'll make this one yellow, sure. We'll do Token Whisper. Make this cool blue color. Whisper Brian. We'll make green, sure. And then single whispers. You can organize it, color-wise. You got a bunch of your macros. You can be like, okay, these ones do this kind of thing, this color. These ones do this thing, make them another color to kind of keep them all together. Then we got our Party Whisper. Make it black. Okay, way better, easier to see, right? So let's get into some of the easy ones. Okay, so obviously you're going to be playing this, and there's going to be times when you're going to need to communicate either to the GM or to a particular player, and no one else needs to know. Because like sometimes when you're explaining something, say a player rummages through a desk and finds a letter, right? And instead of telling him, well, everyone else can listen. Okay, in this letter, you read that the king thought there was an assassin or whatever. Well, now everyone knows. But this way, you can tell just that player. Nobody else knows, which kind of helps everyone with the whole metagaming, like player knowledge versus character knowledge. So what you would do, you would create a macro. So let me just show you how it works first, and then I'll show you how it's created. Okay. So say I, as the GM, I need to whisper Brian. You say this guy right here, okay? And I need to tell him, hey, something important. So I just click this. Then it brings up this little pop-up box and message. What do I want to say? So I can say, like, you found a, whoop, I'm not going to spell, sealed letter in the drawer. Right? Blam. You found a sealed letter in the drawer, right? So now just that player knows he's got the letter, okay? Then he can go back. So say I'm a player now, and I'm going to have my Whisper GM button, my macro here. I'm going to click this, and what I want it to say. What does the letter say? And submit, right? And then we go to the GM. What does the letter say? And then you could converse back and forth. Now, all right, so say we're going to go back. I'm the GM. Now, say I've got a bunch of different players. I got 5 players, right? Now, do I want 5 buttons, one for each player? especially if I've got a lot of other macros up there. I don't want it to get cluttered, right? You want to keep it concise. So there's a couple of options. So I'm going to show you the first one. The first one is the token whisper. Okay. So what you do is you would click on a token, right? So say I'm the GM, and then Brian, I'd click on his token. I need to tell him something. I would click this. Oop. You found secret treasure. Da-da-da-da. There's an A in there. There we go. Blam. Right? So that's the token whisperer. So now if I click off the token and I click this, it's going to give me, you attempted to roll a command looking for a value of selected token, but no tokens are selected, right? So you have to have a token selected for a token whisper to work, okay? So we'll cancel that. Well, now say I got my whole party here. I've got 5 people. You can make a party whisper macro, okay? Now, how does that work? So what, I'm going to show you how it does, and then I'll go back and I'll show you all 4 of these whisper types, because they're all pretty similar, just a few little things change. So party whisper, you're going to click this. This is going to give you a drop-down menu, a little drop box. Okay. Then when you create the macro, which I'll show you here in a second, this is where you're going to change the name. So obviously Brian is the only character that I've got here, so I would select him, then I would submit, and then I'd be like, what do you want to say? Or what do you wish to say? Or however you want to word it, right? And I would be like, just, hello, you found, 20 gold pieces. Da-da-da-da. Blam. Submit. Okay? So those are your 4 whispers. So now let's go in to your whisper thing and let's look at them and see how they're created. Okay? So let's obviously look at the whisper GM and the whisper Brian. These 2 are going to be the exact same. It's just you're going to do something different. So the whisper GM, it's pretty simple. So you're going to name it. Okay? For some reason I feel like I spelled that wrong. I don't know why. So you're going to name it. So I just whisper GM, right? And then what the command is, so /W, and then a GM, you can capitalize it or you can not, right? You can not capitalize it. You can test it here, okay? So it still does the same thing. I just had that one capitalized. And then you just do question mark, and then it's the curly bracket. I don't know what it's called. Those of you that are more inclined with computers and stuff, if you want to tell me what that bracket is called, in the comments below, that'd be fantastic. But it's the curly bracket, and then this is where you would say whatever. Message, because as you see right here, message, question mark. This is also, you could be like, what do you want to say? What do you want to say, right? Okay. And then that's simple, right? And now the whisper player is the same thing, but now you would /W and then the player name. So say it's Brian, or it's Bob, it's Sally, it's Tim, whatever. You would put their name instead of GM, and then the same thing. The question mark with the curly bracket, what your heading wants to say, message, what do you want to say, what are you saying, whatever. And then if you want a question mark at the end of it to make it a question, and then curly bracket at the end. Okay? So you can test it, hello. Okay? Right there. All right? Those 2 are easy. Now, let's look at the token whisper. Okay? Token whisper. Oh, this looks a little more convoluted here. Okay? So we're going to do the /W again. Now we're going to use the @ symbol. And now we're going to use the... I cannot see. I think that's the curly bracket as well. And then selected, and then... I don't know what it's called, but the line, that's on the / key next to the enter button, and then token _ name, curly bracket space, then message, right? So like we test it, right? Oop. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm gonna select your token, test your macro, message, right? So there's actually, there we go. Let's fix that. See, message, question mark, there at the end, right? Hello. See? Boom. There we go. Now remember, if you try to use this while you don't have a token selected, It's going to give you an error. Remember that, okay? So that's how you do that one. If you need to pause the video, write it down, whatever, go ahead and do so. Cancel that one. All right, so those three are pretty easy. Now let's talk about the party whispers. Okay, how are we going to make that drop-down box? Okay, so we're going to click on this. Now, all right, so it looks pretty simple, okay? So /W space question mark curly bracket whisper, and then it's the the big divider line, and then your player name. So Brian, Bob, Sally, Tim, Jimmy, whatever, and then curly bracket at the end space question mark curly bracket. What do you wish to say or message or whatever you want the dialog box to say? So like we test it, right? Because the divider bar is creates these different, but obviously if I try to do this now, it's gonna give me an error because there's no player 4, so unable to find a player or character with name 4. Okay. So then you would just select whoever, right? You submit, and then, didn't even spell it right. Hello, right? That was pretty simple, right? Follow me so far. Now, these are going to be ones you're going to want to have because the thing I like the most about Roll20 is that if I need to make certain information sensitive or specifically to a certain player, instead of like handing around him a note and giving him a note, we can just text it and we can just whisper it over. Then also the players are going to want to whisper the GM a lot of stuff. Dice rolls, if they want to ask the GM a question without the other players listening for whatever reason, especially if you're talking about, oh, you found the secret letter. What does it say? Well, this is what it says. All right, cool. I stick it in my pocket. Well, now no one else knows that you've got this letter except for you and the GM, which is kind of how it should be if you as the player are not going to reveal that, right? So those are really good tools. All right, so now let's look at dice rollers, okay? So we're going to be whispering, and we're going to dice rollers. These are some of the basic stuff you're going to need for pretty much any game. You're playing Mutants and Masterminds, you're playing Star Wars, you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. You're going to need the ability to roll dice. Now, in the previous video, we've talked about this thing. Now, this is quick and easy. Like, if I just need to roll a dice, I need to roll a d20. There it is, right? It rolls it, puts it all right here. But a lot of times, like I said, you're going to want those rolls to be whispered, right? You're not going to want the other people to know, especially the GM stuff. If you're a GM, a lot of these are made from a GM standpoint, or I made them from a player standpoint, only wanting the GM to know the results, okay? So this is like quick and dirty if you need to roll the dice and you don't care. But I've got something made up that we're not even going to need this. We've got something looking really good here, so stay tuned. So, and then you just click to get rid of your dice. So, we're going to say we're playing Mutants and Masterminds, because if you're playing Mutants and Masterminds, right? Open this sheet, right? So we got our Mutants and Masterminds right here. Okay, so we're playing Mutants and Masterminds, so we're going to take that as the status quo is what we're talking about. So I didn't create a bunch of the different dice because Mutants and Masterminds only uses a d20, but you can use the same macro. You just change the value from d20 to d4, d6, d8. So first we're going to roll a d20. So I just click this, blam. It rolls all over the place. All right, so this is just all I rolled was 1d20 with no modifiers. Now, and then you see how I've got it in this cool little template here? Because normally if you just do like slash roll 1d20, it's going to just put it in there. It's not going to whisper it. It's going to be this huge box. It's going to rolling 1d20. It shows me a dice, even though there's one on the screen, and then it gives me the result. I don't need all that. I want it nice, clear, and concise. I'm a player. GM's like, okay, Brian, roll me a d20. I just go blam. There it is. It was whispered to the GM, and he knows it's a d20 and what the result is. Right? Crisp and clear. Now, how do we make that? So let's go back here, and let's look at our d20, right? d20, d20. We're just going to click it. Okay? So we're going to /W GM like we did before, so whisper the GM. Now this template that I used, right here, this is the default template that any game in Roll20 can use. This purple, you know, and you can name it whatever. So it's the and symbol. I'm assuming that's what you call it now. Yeah, so the and symbol with the curly bracket, then template, colon, default template, curly bracket, and then a space, and then you put name. So this is where the name, this is how you're going to name this box. Because like say I put it, you know, I could put an extra 0 in there. Now it's D200, but it's actually still rolling to D20. So this is where you're going to put your name. Okay. Obviously, I just D20, and then you could leave the space in there. But see how it's kind of like, I don't know, a little off-centered feels like. So I just did it like that. See, it's a little more, looks better to me. Oh, I rolled a 20. It's going to be a good day. So, and then the name is, it's double curly bracket, name equals, no spaces, whatever you want the name of that box to be, double curly bracket. And then whatever the next thing is, so I wanted, because at first I didn't have the results in there, and it would just have this little yellow box that would just show you what rolled. I'm like, well, that doesn't look very good. We're gonna label it, make it look official, right? So your double curly bracket results or whatever result, you can boom, and you can test it, see result, right? And it puts up that box, and then equal. And now these are regular brackets, so 2 regular brackets. This is going to create an inline roll. That's how you're going to get it to look like that. Is that little yellow box with just the number in there. Then if you highlight over it, it'll show you the expanded, rolling 1d20 equals 16. Then you put whatever you want in there, d20, d100, 10, d10, whatever, and then you go double bracket and then double curly bracket. Okay. That's how you get that one to work. We'll test it one more time. 13. All right, fantastic. Now, so say, like I said, we're going back to Mutants and Masterminds, and say I need to make a roll. So let me show you an extra tip, right? An extra tip for you guys. So this token I've got set up to a character sheet. Now, say instead of going here and then opening my character sheet like this, right? Let's say maybe I've got a bunch of stuff right over here. I got a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, okay, where's my character sheet, or where's this, or where's that? Especially if you're a GM and you got a bunch of tokens like NPCs and monsters and all kinds of stuff. Instead of scrolling through all this, you can click on the token, right? Click on the token, hold the shift, double left click. Will open your character sheet. Any game, okay? Goes right to your character sheet. And then if you want to minimize without closing, you just double click and it puts it up here in this little bar, see? And then you can just off click and there you go. But anyway, so let's open up our character sheet. One thing is that most of the sheets will have all of these pre-generated macros. Like I need to roll initiative. I just click this and it rolls it for me. Now this has got it set up to where it says that Brian rolls for initiative. It tells me my initiative result. It tells me what my dodge, agility, and awareness and everything are. That's how this sheet was created by whoever created it, right? You know what? I'm going to give you another bonus hint. So say I want to know how that macro was made. Say I want to make a macro similar. So I'm going to roll it again, just so you start from the beginning. You roll whatever macro off your sheet, okay? You click in the chat box. You press the up arrow. Okay, now this is going to show you how that macro was made. Then you can just drag this like this to expand it all. And this is going to show you how the creator of the sheet put this macro together on this sheet. So if you needed to reference it, you can do it that way. Just make sure that you delete that and then minimize your box again or whatever, however big you want to make it, right? Okay, free tips, pro tips. Right? But say I'm playing a sheet, maybe it didn't have that. Maybe it didn't have the ability to just click the button and roll my agility or whatever, and I needed to roll a d20 plus some modifier. So say I needed to roll a strength. So +2 plus a d20. I just click my macro, my d20 plus modifier is what I called it. And what's my modifier? What is it? +2. and it rolls. Right? Now I labeled it, the box is D20 plus question mark, or you could say plus modifier. But let's look at how we made that. Okay, we're going to go back to our macros. We're going to click here. All right, it looks a little more convoluted. All right, but don't worry, it's actually not too bad. Basically, we took what we had and we added a little to it. So once again, we want it to whisper to the GM. So /W space GM, and then you've got your template. So your and symbol, curly bracket template, colon default, and then double curly bracket name. You know, here you could put it, you know, plus modifier. Let's roll it again here so you can see what it looks like. So say I got a +5 now. Right? So D20 plus modifier, or however you want to label it. Okay? Double curly bracket. So then to get the modifier, so then what we're going to do here, so we're going to double curly bracket, and we see how we put the results, or the result in there, space equals, and then double bracket, we want it to roll, you know, 1d20 plus a modifier, and then to include a modifier, question mark, curly bracket, the word modifier with the M capitalized, that dividing bracket, 0, because if you test it, see the modifier starts at 0, and then you put in, so say 2, and then submit. Okay, I mean, you could have that start at a different number, but I would have it start at 0 in case there is no modifier, and then you do curly bracket in the end to close in modifier with the bracket in the 0, and then double regular brackets to complete the inline roll, and then the double curly bracket to close in results, that whole line. Results, right here, closes that in. Results equals whatever this is, however it rolls it, right? This is your template. This is the name of your roll, whatever you're doing here. And then this is all one line. Result equals blam. So it rolled a D20 plus 2. It rolled an 11 and a 2, so it gave me a 13. And it whispered it to the GM, right? It looks really, really good. One click, and you can get that rolled out there. Because normally you would have to be like, okay, so /whisper GM, and then it would be like roll 1d20 plus something, you know, like you'd have to do the math. What's the modifier? Da 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 da. This one button, I got a modifier +4. It rolls a d20 +4. Done. It's simple. Okay. All right. Hope you're still with me. So let's get into. So say I just need to roll. I need a time when I need to roll a certain number of dice, any kind of dice with any kind of modifier. How do we do that? Well, let's show you how it works. So this is my D question marks. Okay, how many dice? I'm going to roll 5 die type. I'm going to roll D6, and then what's my modifier? Say I got a +5 strength. So I'm going to roll all that, and this using the same template. So I labeled this one dice roller. Results gave me 23. So I rolled 5d6 plus 5. So I rolled a 2, 3, 4, 6, and 3 plus 5, right? Awesome. You know, okay, so, or say you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, you're playing 5th edition, and you've got an advantage on an attack roll, so you're going to roll 2 d20 plus my attack bonus of 7. This is not the best way to do it. You see I rolled a 1 and a 12, right? This is really kind of how you would want to do, like, damage. You know, I sneak attack, I do 5 d6 plus 6. Now, if you wanted to be able to roll and lay out certain other dice, like you wanted to roll 2 separate d20s, if you want to know how to do that, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do like another video of more macros that could be helpful for you. I'm just giving you some basic ones that anyone could use. All right, so you understand that one. Now, how do we build that? We're going to go up here, my dice question mark. All right, we're looking even more convoluted, but really, like, it's all the same. We're just adding more stuff. So with /whisper GM, the template name, I called it dice roller. Results equal So it's going to be double bracket, and then it's going to be question mark, and then curly bracket, how many. Let's see, get it over here. So how many, right? So I say like 4, okay? And then D question mark, so like dice type, so 6. And then we took that same modifier, so question mark, curly bracket, modifier, all that stuff, from the previous one, the D20 plus the modifier one, and we just added it in here. That's 5, right? And then you just got to make sure you close it all in. So we've got 2 curly brackets, 2 regular brackets, so we've got to have 2 regular brackets and 2 curly brackets here at the end to close it all in to make it work. Because to say you don't, you only have one of those. See, it's not going to do it right. It doesn't put it at the end. You got to make sure you have that extra one right there. So 1 D20 plus 5. That one little bracket is going to make all the difference, right? All right, not too hard. Not too hard, right? We're just basically taking what we have. We're just add a little bit, add a little bit, add a little bit to make it a little more complex. Okay? Now, all right, so, but now am I going to want a bunch of buttons here for D20s and 4s and 6s and 8s and da-da-da-da-da-da-da? No, I'm not. I'm going to want a nice, easy little box that's going to pop up, and it's going to give me all of my options. That's just me. So one of my subscribers was asking, like, about rollable tables. Can you have like tables that roll tables? Obviously, I'm not experienced enough with all of it yet to know, but I do know that there is a way to do something similar. It might not be able to be one clickable, but it might be couple of clicks, but you can make it to where it's just like click, 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 and you're done, instead of having to do all this other stuff. Let me just show you how my GM roller works. So this is for me as the GM, and I need access to all my dice at once for some reason. So I'm going to click this. Blam. So we got our nice little box, and then I've labeled dice types. So then I've taken that D question mark, right? The one that I can roll any number of dice types with any number of modifier. And I took my D20 roll. Sure, I could have added in my D20 plus modifier if I wanted to. But I just put the 2 in here just as an example. So it brings them up in this little box, but then you see it becomes, these are clickable. So now I need to click this. Whee! See? Awesome. So now I need that again, so I click my GM roller. And now I want to, eventually you would make macros for all the different dice types. Then you could put them all in here and have one block that's going to have all your different dice. Then you just click the dice that you want. And then what's great is that you can all set it up how you want it to look and how you want it to roll and make it really customizable versus this. Okay? Get this out of here. So then I just click this. I want 5d6 plus 5, and it rolls it all right there. Okay? All right, so how do we get this to look here? I'm going to go with here, our GM roller, blam. Right, so the first half we've already looked at before. All right, we're going to whisper to the GM. We're going to use that default template. We're going to give it a name, die roller. Now we're going to double curly bracket die types, equal sign, and then your regular bracket. Now this is where you're going to have what we're doing here. We're calling these other macros. Okay, so this is the name of it, like what you want to show up in that little pink box. Because so say I just, I put hold on, wrong button. I say I put a bunch of question marks, right? I test the macro again. See, now it's a bunch of question marks. So the first section here is what is going to show up in the pink box. And then you're going to close it, bracket, and then you're going to parenthesis, exclamation mark, hashtag. I'm old enough, I call it a pound sign. And then right here is going to be the name of the macro that you created. So D question mark, question mark, question mark. That's where you're going to put that, right? And then the next one, you're going to call another one. You're going to bracket, I want the D20 to show up in that pink box. And then we're going to call the D20 macro right here that I made. I can open it right there so I can show you. And then you're going to close it all in with double curly brackets. Okay. Right? I mean, it's like it looks complicated, but if you just take it step by step, obviously do some research, check out this video, then there's so much more that you can do with macros and rollable tables in this system. It is a fantastic tool. Like, I can't say it enough for players and GMs alike. All right, gamers, so that was some basic macros and a couple of advanced macros that you would use in a game. I really kind of designed it as the GM starting out with the system to be able to get them up and running to make things a little easier, rolling dice and whispering, talking to your players. There's so much other stuff that you can do with the macros. If you have the knowledge of how macros work and all that code and kind of stuff, you're going to excel at that. I kind of have to teach myself as I go along. But I like the learning experience, and I hope that I was able to explain it well enough to get it across to you guys so you guys understand, so you can implement that if you play with Roll20 as well. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to support my channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so when I upload new content, you'll get a notification so you can be some of the first to check it out. Also, follow me over on Twitter at GameMastersDone1 if you want to see updates in my gaming life or future content. Also, if you've got ideas for content you would like to see, you can put it over there on Twitter or you can put it in the comments below. I would love to see it either way. Also, I would love for you guys to come over and join me over on my Discord server. Link will be in the description below. I'm getting more and more people that are coming over there, and we're all having some great conversations. We've got some experienced players, some newer players to Mutants and Masterminds, and we're all helping each other out to make our gaming experience better for everybody. And I hope to see you guys over there. So with all that said, until I see you again in the dungeon, I'm Brian, your Game Master, and happy gaming.